They don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD and Melissa.
Hi guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD with my wonderful co-host.
Hi JD.
Melissa. We're pretty excited. Today we got a super awesome dude, has a lot of experience with Mark Podolsky, the Land Geek. This guy's done over 5,000 individual transactions and has his own super successful podcast that we'll talk about, I'm sure. But I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of what Mark has to talk about today. Mark, how are you? Thanks for coming on the show.
JD, Melissa, thank you so much for having me. And I'm doing really well. My pulse is normal. My respiration's fine. I can't complain.
Awesome. We're glad to hear that. Mark, I know that a lot of our listeners are going to know who you are and have probably listened to your podcast, but for those that don't, can you give us just, a little bit of breakdown of who you are, where you're from, and maybe why our listeners should listen to you?
Yeah. So, basically who I am, it's a very
deep
existential question. So you're a different question. We could say that there is no me, but that's not the point. So the point is, I've been a professional real estate investor since 2001 full time. As of today, I've done over 6,000 land transactions. And really my mission is to help people get out of what I call solo economic dependency, which means that they're personally not working, they're not making any money. So anybody with a job, freelancers, let's pick on people that have solved their money problems, but not their time problems. Doctors, lawyers, dentists. So for example, if the dentist's hands aren't in the patient's mouth, the dentist isn't generating any revenue. And so I think passive income, especially passive income without headaches, allows people the freedom, the total freedom to work when they want, where they want, and with whom they want, and then the time to explore their highest purpose and live their best lives and really get to self-actualization.
Great. Well, I think that there's a lot of reasons that our listeners should listen to you, but one of the things that I'm most interested in is you kind of have the market on wholesaling land, but what I'm really curious about is how you're turning those wholesale deals into passive income. I think a lot of wholesalers think that it's that transaction. If I'm not actually getting contracts signed and dispoing the property, similar to the dentist having his hands in the mouth, then I'm not making any money. And you've got a way that you've turned that into a way to make passive income. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's just pick on Melissa. So Melissa, you live in Florida, correct?
Correct. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that you own 5 acres of raw land where I live in Arizona, but you owe $200 in back taxes. So Melissa, you're advertising 2 important things to me. Number one, you have no emotional attachment to the raw land. You're in Florida, property's in Arizona. And number 2, you're financially distressed in some weird way because we don't pay for things like our property taxes. We don't value them in the same way. As a result, the county treasurer keeps sending you notices saying, Melissa, if you don't pay your property taxes, you're going to lose that property to a tax deed or a tax lien investor. So all I'm going to do is look at the comparable sales on your 5-acre parcel the last 12 to 18 months. I'm going to take the lowest comparable sale, let's say it's $10,000, and divide by 4. And that's going to get me what Warren Buffett would call a 300% margin of safety. So I'm going to send you an actual offer on your land for $2,500. Now, Melissa, you accept it. Why? Because for you, $2,500 is better than nothing. In reality, 3 to 5% of people accept my quote unquote top dollar deal. But now that you've accepted it, I have to go through due diligence or in-depth research. I have to confirm you still own the property. I have to confirm back taxes are only $200. I have to confirm there's been no breaks in the chain of title. There's no liens or encumbrances. And because it's a smaller deal, I'm going to outsource to my team in the Philippines, pay about $11. They're connected to an American title company. Now, if we're investing more than, say, $5,000, I just close traditionally through a title company. I won't take any risk. But this is only $2,500. We'll assume everything checks out. And now, Melissa, I'm going to sell your property 30 days or less because I have a built-in best buyer. And I'm going to make a cash flow just like a rental home. So, JD, Melissa, do you know who it is?
Who is it?
The neighbors. The neighbors.
Oh.
So I'm going to send out neighbor letters saying, hey, here's your opportunity. Protect your privacy, protect your views, know your neighbor. Now, if the neighbors pass, I'll go to my buyers list. The buyers list passes, I'll go to a little website you may have heard of. It's called Craigslist. It's the 15th most trafficked website in the United States. I'll go to one I know you've heard of because I can just tell by Melissa's like scrolling it all day long. Meta or Facebook, buy, sell groups in the marketplace. And then we'll go to the lands, landmodo.com, landandfarm.com, landsofamerica.com, landflip.com, landhub.com. These are platforms where people buy and sell raw land. But the secret is we're going to make it irresistible. So all we're going to ask for from our next buyer is a $2,500 down payment for them to control this 5-acre parcel that Melissa used to own. And then we'll just make a car payment. Let's say $297 a month at 9% interest for the next 84 months. So it's a one-time sale. We're going to get our money out on the down payment, but we could go 6 to 10 months out. And now we're getting $297 a month at 9% interest for the next 84 months. No renters, no rehabs, no renovations, no rodents. And because I'm not dealing with a tenant, we're exempt from Dodd-Frank, RESPA, and the SAFE Act, all this owner's real estate legislation. So it's a simple game. Can we create enough land notes where our passive income exceeds our fixed expenses? And now we're working because we want to, not because we have to.
Sure. I mean, that's a phenomenal plan. And there's a lot, I think you were simplifying it and making it a little bit, quicker, because a lot of times with these land deals and with these getting a hold of the people, all of that stuff is difficult. But the part in there that I really had a question about, so you're not running most of these small dollar amount land deals through a title company. What does that look like?
So, well, first of all, 90% of this business is automated with software on the front end, inexpensive virtual assistants, and software on the back end. That's a set and forget payment system to manage your notes.
Sure.
So the way it works is there's virtual assistants in the Philippines that are connected to American title companies that are just have access to the software that your title agent would have to do a title search.
So when you're purchasing the land in that manner, are you still getting a warranty deed and then you're selling it via warranty deed also?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like housing. There's not a very long chain of title on these things.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So now you're essentially turning your vacant land that you've bought for a discounted price because the person needed money more than they needed the land into an owner finance type deal. And if you stack up enough of them, you can then use that money to buy more or pay your expenses or any of that kind of stuff. What kind of marketing are you doing to reach these guys? Are you just sending them letters or postcards, cold call, SMS? What does that look like for you?
Yes. So we're just sending out an offer letter, first class mail. So we have a software called lgpass.com that automates it. So we'll get a list from the county and then we'll scrub that list into just vacant land parcels. It's like just use code by VL. Now we got vacant land.
Right.
Then we'll do one more scrub by APN number, assessor's parcel number. So we got neighborhood. And so now I've got a really easy way to look at the comps, divide by 4 and price my list. Because if I send somebody the same offer as 40 or the 5 acres as 40 acres, a 40 acre person is going to send me back glitter in the mail. So I want to make sure that, I'm pricing it right. And then LG Pass will do the, through an API, through a mailing house, we'll do all the mailings.
Sure. And one of the things I think is super interesting is this, because you have it so automated, but it really, you can spread out virtually all over the whole country. You don't need to be in the market. You don't have to drive over, meet the seller at the property, shake hands, take pictures, and do all that kind of stuff. Are you receiving your offers back where they say, yep, we're sign it right there? Or are you having a follow-up process that you reach back out to these guys with, or what's that look like?
We have an intake manager that handles the sellers. And so the seller will raise their hand. They'll either, fax back the offer letter, or they'll call, or they'll email. And then the intake manager has to qualify them. Are they just, mad at me because the offer was 25 cents to the dollar? Are they confused by it, or are they really interested in selling? Sometimes they want to negotiate and do a counter. So that's the intake manager's job. And then once it goes through intake, then it goes to the due diligence people. And then from there, into the marketing. So we use like an assembly line process.
Right. And your widget is real estate.
And the widget is real estate. We just shuffle paper and make money, JD. It's very fun.
It's easy days. It's simple process. So for you, I assume that even this part of your business is passive, right? You're not just collecting on the notes, but you've got the systems, processes, and people in place to make the whole business kind of passive for you. Is that right?
Yeah. In fact, I'm finishing up my second book called Dirt Rich 2, The Plot Thickens, on how to scale a land business. And ultimately, what you want to do is, if it's going to be a business, it's running without you. You should be able to travel around the world, and this machine just continues, printing out passive income for you. So absolutely. And, that's the whole point of getting out of sole economic dependency. You don't want to build yourself another job. Right.
And what does your team look like? How many people and
I'm so hands off now. I've got my acquisition manager managing the team. Mm-hmm. So I've really spent about 30 minutes a week in the investment company, talking to him and, hey, how many offers went out this week? How many deals are accepted? How many deals are pending? How many deals do we close? And then my job is to think. And, he hates it, because then I'll call him or Vox and be like, hey, why don't we try this? Right. And everything's working. And then I break it.
Right.
So that's really my job. As far as, the team is concerned, we have virtual assistants in the Philippines and Jamaica, mm-hmm. that are running the majority of the company. But our typical client, I'm a different whole thing, but our typical coaching client, is about $1,500 a month in overhead, mm-hmm. Between software and people.
Okay. Great. And so what about for some of our newer listeners who may be looking into getting into the land space, but they feel like, they don't know enough information to get started? Do you have any recommendations from that? Like, how do you get over that hurdle of not knowing and not being able to see kind of the fog of war, where you don't understand what the next step is? How do you get them to actually take action and start doing deals?
Well, I think the way to learn anything is by doing it. So we have a course that we offer for free, how to double your money 30 days or less. So if you just go to landgeek.com/quick deals, you can get started and just see, does this model resonate with you? So just landgeek.com/quick deals, let us train you. And then if it resonates with you, you can go deeper into the training.
Mm-hmm. And now, land acquisitions and running it passively is kind of the goal, but are you ever selling them outright, cash offers and that kind of stuff too? Or are you strictly dispoing them with the passive method?
I want passive income. I'd rather have cash flow than cash. I mean, occasionally we get people who insist they will pay cash and then we take it, but it's not our focus.
Okay, great. Awesome. Now, can we talk about your podcasts for a little bit and some of the stuff that you're doing to spread real estate education and to help create financial freedom for other people?
Absolutely.
Great. Well, can you tell us a little bit about what your podcast is, what kind of information our listeners would get if they hopped over and took a listen?
Sure. So it's the Art of Passive Income podcast. And once a week, we'll either have an interview with an expert in some field of real estate that's, creating passive income or something business related, or we'll have a roundtable podcast where our coaches and myself will discuss a pain point in the land investing business and how we solve it in our own businesses. So it's a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun with it for sure.
Great. Awesome. And then as far as your coaching, are you taking people from start to finish, like they've never done a deal before? Is there a certain level that somebody needs to be at before they start looking into that kind of stuff?
No, I mean, when I started, I had $3,000 and no real estate experience. We have some clients who have no real estate experience and $500. So really, if you're coachable and really what you need to have is a burning desire.
Mm-hmm.
If you have that, you're going to be successful. So we have different programs where it's do it yourself, done with you. And then, of course, scaling would be one-on-one coaching.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But you certainly don't need a lot of experience or any experience.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody was going to go out and try to get started right now, you've already kind of gave them the whole plan earlier in the podcast, right? You go out, pull your list from the county, look at the price, divide by 4, send them the offer letter, and then start working the deals as they come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's awesome. And if somebody didn't think they could do that on their own, they could reach out to you. Where would you send them to connect with you? You gave your Facebook and your website, but your podcast and your website. Do you have social media accounts that they can connect with you on? Or
yeah, I mean, I'm always, whatever you go on, I'm the Land Geek. So YouTube, the Land Geek, Instagram, the Land Geek, Twitter, the Land Geek. LinkedIn, the Land Geek. So whatever. And then if you just go to thelandgeek.com, you'll find all the podcasts and all that good stuff there.
All right. And before we let you go, what's the number one piece of advice that you give to a new investor just starting out?
I love this Zig Ziglar quote. If you'll do for the next 3 to 5 years what other people won't do, you'll be able to do for the rest of your life what other people can't do. But notice he didn't say, for the next 3 to 5 months, it's next 3 to 5 years.
I love that. Mm-hmm.
So often, building something is like building a bridge, and it's just brick by brick by brick. And then you get to the other side and we'll call it conventional success. But what most people do is they start building a quarter of the bridge. They go on another podcast. They're like, oh, this bridge is hard. And then like, screw it, ATM investing. And they start going into something else. Right. And so they keep hopping, and they never get across to that bridge.
Awesome. I think that's great advice.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, Mr. Land Geek, we've really appreciated you coming on the show today. And I hope that some of our listeners get over there to your podcast and start to soak up some of the land investing knowledge.
JD, Melissa, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. That was awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, check out our website, therealestatejam.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Estate Jam. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at therealestatejam@gmail.com. See you next episode.